Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be going over all the NFL draft analysts and experts mock draft and who they have the Commanders picking at 16, or if they have the Commanders trading back. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, also with that like button and that notification bell, and check out Manta Sleep Mask. And shout out to Rico, he did this video last week, but I wanted to give you guys an updated version of it. You know, there's still going to be some changes to mock drafts, and there's still people coming out with new mock drafts in the next couple of days, but we are 2 days away from the NFL draft. You know, things are winding down, and we're getting right into it right now. So I have like 12, 13 kind of mock drafts here, you know, ranging from household names like Daniel Jeremiah, Mel Kiper, and Todd McShay to guys you might not know as well. So this one right here is from, you know, NFL Network. Eric Edholm, you know, for NFL Network, and he has the Washington Commanders selecting Darnell Wright, which is who I have them selecting. That is not what I necessarily really want them to do, but that's my prediction, is that they will select tackle Darnell Wright out of Tennessee at 16, or if they somehow can trade back a few spots and still get him, that would be absolutely amazing, but we will see. But Ben Stanek also has, you know, predicted him to, you know, he said that's the pick he would have the Commanders selecting. Don't have an athletic subscription currently. We'll get that very soon, but couldn't see what his mock draft said. But I think it was Darnell Wright or Broderick Jones from the thumbnail right there. But that's another guy that has the Commanders selecting Darnell Wright, and I don't have the mock draft up here, but Mel Kiper and Todd McShay recently did a 3-round mock draft where they kind of alternated picks, and they also selected Darnell Wright for the Washington Commanders. And then I think it was Kelee Ringo in the second round, and Kuntz, the tight end out of ODU, athletic freak, in the third round. Would be happy, very happy with that draft if it goes like that. So that is, you know, the first couple mock drafts we're going through. Sam Monson from PFF. This was about a week ago. He had the Commanders selecting offensive tackle Anton Harrison from Oklahoma with pick 16. I think that's a little early for Anton Harrison. If you're going to pick him, trade back, because you can get someone of his caliber in the late 20s, and that's what I would do. Don't take him at 16. I think that's a reach. Probably give that a C- grade if that happens. Versus Darnell Wright, if they pick him at 16, I'll probably give it a B. Maybe a B+, but probably around a B. And if they trade back and get him, let's say they get him at like 21, get some additional assets, then I'll probably give him like a A-, because they got a solid player, they moved back some spots, and got some, you know, draft capital, and got a player at a position of need. You know, where Anton Harrison, they kind of like Darnell Wright, his range, I've actually seen him go as high as like 10 to the Eagles, but most people have him in that 14 to 20 range. But Anton Harrison, like he's in those 20s. Some people even have him in the second round, but he's probably going to be a late first round pick. But 16 would be way too early for him, so hopefully that is not the pick. Next one, Ryan Wilson from NFL Network. Again, about a week ago is when he posted this. This is a full mock draft. He had the Commanders picking Deonte Banks out of Maryland, Joe Tippmann, and a few other players you guys can see here. Aiden O'Connell, quarterback out of Purdue, in the 5th round. You know, don't hate this mock draft at all. I actually like Deonte Banks and Joe Tippmann. I think those are very solid players for sure. And I would not mind Deonte Banks at 16 at all. I think they prefer O-line, but if those guys aren't there, like Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones, Gronowski, and who am I missing? Paris Johnson. If those guys aren't there, I'm fine with Deonte Banks, or trading back and seeing if Banks, Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones, who again probably not going to be there, and maybe Brian Branch. If you can trade back and get one of those guys, that's a great spot to be in for the Commanders. But that's what Ryan Wilson has, and I believe he's from NFL Network as well. Actually, no, CBS. He says it right here. And Dane Brugler, one of the main guys. He works for The Athletic. He just, you know, he's one of those main guys. He has, you know, the Beast every year, where he has, you know, written reports on every single player, and it's great. It's great. So this was his mock draft. He had the Commanders selecting Bijan Robinson at 16, again, around a week ago, and Kelee Ringo in the second, Carter Warren in the third, and then Dorian Williams, linebacker to Tulane, I would like that for sure. And you guys can see some of his other picks, but the main one to talk about is Bijan Robinson. And I'm starting to warm up to Bijan Robinson at 16. Will I love the pick? Definitely not. Still won't like it, but I will understand it. And even though I won't really like the pick, I'll be excited about it because I know we will have, if not the Offensive Rookie of the Year, probably number 2 or 3. And the only reason he won't win it is because, there's 2 to 3 quarterbacks that will be starting this year, but he'll probably deserve it, and he's going to have a huge, huge year. So I would be excited if we drafted him. Still wouldn't like the pick. Would probably give it like a C grade, maybe a C minus. Would probably like it over Anton Harrison, though, just because I don't think the value is great there with Anton Harrison. I would much rather draft someone like Darnell Wright there, or if Broderick Jones is there, or Paris Johnson, which don't think it's going to happen, but just kind of something right there. One other draft rumor. I made a draft rumor video yesterday. Go ahead and check that out. But DeJuan Jones, the Commanders are reportedly high on him. JP Finley has talked about that, so that is something to watch out for. Maybe they trade into the late first round, early second, and grab tackle out of Ohio State, DeJuan Jones, who's like 6'8" and is just a beast, man. He's an absolute unit. Peter King, this was yesterday. He had the Commanders selecting safety Brian Branch out of Alabama. He talked about the possibility of Lucas Van Ness or Jackson Smith and Jibba, but if that happened, either of those, I would be mad. Like, Jackson Smith and Jibba I think is going to be great. We don't need a receiver. We already have 2 Ohio State receivers, and we got Jahan Dotson as well. We do not need another guy. Like, Jackson Smith and Jibba would be the 4th guy on our depth chart, and you don't want your first-round pick to be getting barely any playing time as a rookie. I mean, maybe if that happened, you move on from Curtis Samuel, but I mean, you would have to, but no. And Lucas Van Ness, I don't want an edge rusher in the first or the second round. We can start talking about it in the third round. And that 97th pick, especially if we trade back in the first and get another third round pick, I would not mind drafting an edge rusher with that 97th overall pick, or even that other third round pick that they get. But in the first or second, I just think it's too early. You have other, bigger needs than, edge rushers. So that's kind of my take on the situation right there. Next one, this is not John Kine's mock draft. His comes out tonight, but in Mel Kiper's last mock draft, which is 2 weeks ago, he had the Commanders picking Joey Porter in the first and then Blake Freeland in the second. And I believe Todd McShay a few weeks ago, it's been like 3 weeks since his mock draft, also had the Commanders selecting Joey Porter. We've been over this. Commanders aren't taking him, or at least that's what John Kine thinks, and a lot of other people think. I've been saying this for a while. It's not a scheme fit, so don't see him going to the Washington Commanders. And even though a lot of mocks have him there, not going to go over a ton just because we kind of know it's probably not going to happen, but I did want to go over this one because it's Mel Kiper and he's one of the faces of the draft. But it was 2 weeks ago, so got to give him a little bit of a leeway there because he'll probably have a new one soon. But real quick word from the sponsor. Also, guys, huge shout out to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. Once again, they're a sleep mask company that makes amazing sleep masks, a bunch of different types, some that can change the temperature so you can sleep at the temperature that you desire. Also, some with, sound systems and speakers so you can listen to what you want, when you're going to bed, and something to wake you up. And I've been using one for the last couple weeks, and it's been really, really helpful for me, and I've gotten some great sleep. So make sure you guys check them out and use code HTTC for 10% off. Okay, on to the next mock draft. So I believe this is Peter Schrager, this is Peter Schrager. He has the Washington Commanders selecting Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. So interesting one right there. I think, definitely a possibility. I mean, 16 might be a little bit too early for him, but he's a dynamic weapon. Only concern I have, he has a little bit of a back injury there, but also, and let me just click out of that. Don't want to get a copyright strike because of the ad, but the next mock draft's the same thing. But the only concern I have is that, he had a little bit of an injury, issue with the back, but also we have so many weapons in Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel. You can even throw De'Ami Brown in there that will get some targets that, like, I don't know if we have enough targets to, give a guy that like Dalton Kincaid, that many targets, because he's going to need a lot, and he's a guy that should be getting a ton of targets. But will he be able to get those targets when all those other guys are there? So do I hate it? No, because it's a dynamic weapon, but 16 might be a little bit too early. If we can trade back and still get him, would not mind it at all. I would probably give it like a B minus, B grade if we got him at like 25. But 16 would probably give it like a C plus grade, just because, again, I think it's a little bit too high for a tight end, and you already have a lot of weapons on the offensive, on the offense, where I don't know if he's going to get enough targets, but that's just my take on it. So I guess this ad is just going to stick here. But that was Peter Schrager's mock draft. This one right here is Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, one of the best in the business, and this was a month ago, so it's been a while. Peter Schrager's was more recently, I think early last week. He has, and of course the ad pops up. We're just going to go to the next one, but I'll still talk about it. Both of them have not Peter Schrager. Both of them have Dalton Kincaid. The Commanders could see it, and Daniel Jeremiah, again, one of the best in terms of scouting the players. Not sure about his actual mocks, but in terms of scouting the players, he's one of the best in the business. Obviously, he was a former NFL scout, I believe, for the Ravens and maybe the Eagles as well, a little bit there. And yeah, he's done a really good job these last few years. And yeah, I mean, I think Dalton Kincaid's a possibility, but I think, honestly, I would give it like a 5% chance, maybe even a little bit lower of it happening. I think they'll go not tight end. They'll go tackle and then corner. And if none of those guys are there, then they'll think about like Bijan, an edge rusher, or maybe Dalton Kincaid. So next one, this is from the Draft Network. Justin M had the Commanders selecting Christian Gonzalez and Anton Harrison. Would love that, but it's too early. I mean, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be there. And one thing I want to talk about as well is the possibility of CJ Stroud. It's going to be on the thumbnail, but it's because a lot of people have asked about it. Even in the show I did with Rio the other day, shout out Rio. Like, they were asking, like, if he falls, would you trade up for him? He's not, like, he might fall, but he's not falling past, I would say, 6. If he does, that's crazy. If Will Levis gets taken over him, that's crazy, and it's looking like it might happen. But if he falls out of the top 10, I would 100% trade up for him, but don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know if the Commanders would trade up for him with, Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett under contract, but could see it. Just something I'd like to throw out there. Cynthia Frolland, not sure how you pronounce her name, she has the Commanders selecting Christian Gonzalez. Again, not going to be there. Would love it, but yeah, just not going to be there. And then PFF's most recent mock draft, they have they have the Commanders selecting Broderick Jones. Would like this. I think this would be a solid pick for the Commanders. He's talented, could play left tackle, right tackle for you. And if that happens, if you draft any of these tackles, you slide Andrew Wiley inside. That's what ideally you do. And then your offensive line would look like Charles Leno, maybe Wiley at left guard, Chase Roulier / Nick Gates at center, and then Cosme at right guard, and then your rookie tackle at right tackle. So I think that would be a really solid, it would be an upgraded lineup for sure, with some potential, improvement with Sam Cosme there, the new tackle at, whoever they draft, and then Andrew Wiley as well. Next mock draft is the 33rd team. They kind of have an analytics site. Let's see. They're kind of big. 74K followers. They have the Commanders trading up the Patriots, only a couple spots, and they picked Anthony Richardson. I think that's, only trading up 2 spots, and he's still there. If that happens, would I love it? No, but I wouldn't hate it because you're not really giving up much. You're only giving up your 3rd-round pick, so not a bad pick at all. Again, though, rather than next regime take him. And the last one, Big Game Bengal YouTuber, has the Commanders selecting Deonte Banks at 16. So that is going to wrap it up there. A bunch of different mock drafts. I think the main ones were, I guess Banks had a few votes. I saw, Christian Gonzalez had a couple too, Dalton Kincaid. We saw Broderick Jones with a 1 or 2. Joey Porter. Brian Branch got one. So a lot of different ones. Bijan Robinson. I think it's going to be Darnell Wright. That's my prediction, but we will see. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And again, shout out Rico Street Scores for the idea. Peace.